Dear students, let us start with number system. Number plays an important role and a significant role in our day-to-day activities. So, we discuss about numbers. So, knowing about numbers helps you to understand different subjects in your curriculum also. Let's start with numbers. Among that, basically numbers which are used for counting purpose, we call that as natural numbers. What are natural numbers? Natural numbers are the numbers used for counting purpose. It is denoted by capital N and with a flower bracket. This we call it as a flower bracket. It starts from 1, 2, 3. It goes on and we end with again a flower bracket. This representation of numbers, what we call it as natural numbers. So it starts from 1, 2, 3, 4 and so on, and this is endless. This endless concept, what we call it as infinity. And next we'll move on to the another kind of numbers known as integers. Now what are integers? What are integers? Integer is represented by I, which includes natural numbers and so on. Along with natural numbers, a question was arised to know what happens when a number is subtracted from itself. Example, 4 minus 4. 4 minus 4, your answer is yes, 0. Again, 7 minus 7, it leads to what? 0. So 0 is included along with natural numbers. And again, a question was arised where a smaller number is subtracted from a big number. For example, 8, a smaller number, is subtracted from 10. What is the answer? Answer is minus 2. This minus 2, what we call it as negative values. Negative values are included in this, so on. Minus 1, minus 2, it goes on like this. Now what exactly integers? Integers are nothing but it includes natural numbers, that is nothing but positive numbers, 0 and the negative numbers, all put together what we call it as integers. Okay, let me recall it. Integers are nothing but a set which contains natural numbers, that is positive numbers, 0 and the negative numbers put together, we call that as integers. Now, next, how it developed to another system, what we call it as rationals. Rational or rational numbers. So what are rational numbers? A question was arised how a number is divided. What happens when a number is divided by any other number? What will be the result? For example, let me take 1 by 2. 1 by 2 representation, the value is 0.5. When we divide 7 number by 2, your answer will be 3.5. Is that clear? So, such kind of number is not placed in integers, neither it is placed in natural numbers. Such kind of numbers was included in a new system, and that system what we call it as rational numbers. And this is denoted by Q. Q are nothing but rational numbers, which is represented by a symbols P by Q, where P and Q are integer. It must be integer. It must be integers. And Q must not be equal to 0. Very important is you have to note here P is an integer, Q is also an integer. This kind of representation we call it as fraction. 1 by 2, 7 by 2, all these are nothing but fractions, and these are nothing but decimal values. Decimal values. One thing you have to understand about the rationals. Rationals are nothing but the numbers which are represented by P by Q format. P must be an integer, Q must be an integer, and Q should not be equal to 0. Most important thing you have to note here is Q should not be equal to 0. Now, Why q should not be equal to 0? Let us check that. A number divided by 0 leads to what? That we call it as infinity. It is denoted by the symbol sleeping 8. We call that as infinity. Infinity. We name that as infinity. Any number divided by 0, it is termed as infinity. It is considered as not defined. So far, the number is not defined. Now, let us recall it. Rational numbers are the numbers which are represented in p by q, where p and q are integers and q is not equal to 0. Is that clear? And one important aspect you have to note here is, when a number is divided format like this, we get 0.5, 3.5. These decimals are terminating. Terminating means it has to stop. Or for example, if I take one more number, 1 by 3, you get 0.333, so on. You can see the decimal part is terminating here. The decimal part is terminating here, 7 by 2, 3.5. And observe, 1 by 3 is nothing but 0.33. Here it does not terminate. It's a repeating. Here it is repeating. Repeating. You can notice here it is repeating. Now, I'll recall again rationals. What do you mean by rationals? Rational numbers are nothing but the numbers which are represented by p by q. Can we call integers as rationals? This was the question. A very important aspect which you have to note. Can we call integers as a rational? Yes, we can call integers as a rational. The reason is, 1 can be represented by 1 by 1, 2 can be represented by 2 by 1, 3 can be represented as 3 by 1, and so on. So, a number 1 can be divided by 1, 2 can be divided by 1, 3 can be divided by 1. Even integers are also called as rationals. Let us move on to the another number system, call it as irrationals. Irrationals. What do you mean by irrationals? Irrationals. Irrationals are nothing but the numbers which are not rationals. It is denoted by a letter q, and we write it a dash here. We represent it as dash, q dash. Q dash are nothing but irrationals. Irrationals. Now, what kind of numbers are this? These are nothing but the numbers which are nothing but square root of 2. Square root of 2, 1.41, so on, it continues. This kind of the decimals which is neither repeats nor terminates. What are irrationals? Irrationals are nothing but which are not rationals. The meaning is which cannot be written in the form p by q, 1, and another thing is 1.41 decimal part, whether neither repeating nor terminating. There is another number 22 by 7. Though it looks like a rationals, 3.14, so on, it continues. Though it looks like a rationals, but it is put under irrational category. The reason being, these are the numbers which is neither repeating nor terminating. 22 by 7 is 3.14, so on, it continues like this. Again, there is a mathematical number called Euler's number, denoted by E. E is nothing but the value which is 2.71 ... It continues like that, repetition. It never terminating nor ending.